TNA Wrestling's mega show, anniversary show, Slammiversary, is Sunday, June 28th in Boston. And hey, if you're going to have a big show, you got to have this TNA Wrestling superstar on the show because this man is money. It's TNA
You
Wrestling
know
superstar
it.
AJ Francis.
How you doing, brother? Man, I got my Dolphins jersey behind me just for you. So there you go.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, AJ Francis.
Yeah,
The man
man.
knows. That's why he was a media champion. That's why I'm telling you right
Uh-huh. Absolutely, man. And it's great, I see that Ray Finkel jersey, deep cut, very deep cut.
now. I put it up there, brother. You never know who knows, but me and you, we know.
Finkel and Einhorn, Finkel and Einhorn. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
it's one of the
Incredible.
best, man. It's one of the best. That was for you, AJ Francis. That was for you.
You know what's funny is that when I was on the Dolphins, I found out how many. It was so funny. So many people are Dolphins fans who aren't from Miami because of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Literally, like that's the reason they became Dolphins fans.
Yeah, it was so great. Jim Carrey is unbelievable. Just what he does physically, and then just how he's quick
Yes,
and all. But you're right, and that something like that always lends itself when you see a movie or something, a TV show or anything, and
hmm
somebody's in it, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, wait a minute, and then they become fans of whatever that was
and,
about. So you're
and
right.
it's like, and it played into my wrestling career too because like there are people who are wrestling fans who like I'm their favorite wrestler because they're a Dolphins fan or they're a Seahawks fan or the Commanders fan or a Patriots fan or a Bucks fan or a Giants fan. Like they met me through the NFL and then I became a wrestler, something that they already liked. And so they're like, oh my God, like he's my favorite wrestler. So, it's crazy. It works both ways.
See, now, AJ, what I'm saying there is because you mentioned those teams. See, from that standpoint, better to be on multiple teams than one team with what you're doing now.
Uh-huh. I made a point of wearing the attires of all my teams in matches. So like I got a lot of options to pick from. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Unfortunately, I'll probably never wear the Dolphins one again because it was white and we wore it one time, put on a classic match, but that white don't last very long in the wrestling ring.
No, not in pro wrestling. No way.
No,
Why?
no, no,
Why is not your friend?
no, no, absolutely not.
Wow, AJ, it's so interesting with your career and just so many great things that you've done and still are doing. And we got the big Slammiversary show coming up. And right now is the road to Slammiversary. So actually next you guys are going to be in Denver, Colorado. And that's going to be on June 6th and 7th at the National Westin Center. And I'm
Mhm.
curious, now that you're on this road to Slammiversary, how jacked is it for you? How important is this for you? And what you want to do to get to Slammiversary?
Well, I haven't been quiet about the fact that I've been calling myself the TNA show stealer because I am. And the first time that I actually stole the show was at Slamversary 2 years ago when me and PCO stole the show in Montreal. And last year, I feel like I stole the show doing a moonsault off the ladder and jumping through the ladders. So Slammiversary has always been a very big showcase for me. So, like, you know, people within TNA, right? And like the TNA legends and like people who've been in TNA for a very long time, they will tell you that Bound for Glory is the biggest show of the year. But me, as a person who grew up watching TNA, who works at TNA, I've always thought Slammiversary was the biggest show of the year. I love Slammiversary. I think Slammiversary is our quote unquote WrestleMania. And some people don't agree with me, but I never gave a damn what anybody thought. You know what I'm saying? Like me personally, I think that Slammiversary is the biggest show of the year. And every year, if you go back and watch Slammiversary, it's a banger. I mean, every single year. And I intend again to try and steal the show again at Slammiversary. You can call me Mr. Slammiversary. Like that's who I am. I'm Mr. Slammiversary. Somehow Bound for Glory comes around and I'm always an ancillary character. But at Slammiversary, I'm Mr. Slammiversary, okay? And I intend on proving it in Boston.
I'd put my money on that, AJ Francis. That's how much I think about it. I'm telling you right
Yeah.
now.
I
But
appreciate
it's
it.
AJ, it's so cool because coming from you, and you've had a nice Florida run too. I remember
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, Coastal Championship Wrestling here,
Mm-hmm.
and recently you were on Boca Raton Championship Wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
BRCW. You do the
Mm-hmm.
Indies, you work Florida. What has Florida wrestling meant to you?
Florida wrestling is where I got my start. Um, I started training at Team 3D Academy in Kissimmee, Florida. Like that's where I started training. So they've since moved the school. It's actually still in Orlando, but they moved it from Kissimmee, and it's now the Dudley Academy. But I went to Team 3D. Like that's where I started my first wrestling match was in Orlando. The first wrestling title I ever won was in Florida. So in Orlando. So it's like, I am nothing without my rise through Florida. And I did all the biggest shows in Florida, but obviously CCW's the biggest one. And, if you ask, anybody who knows anything about anything, the three biggest shows they've ever had was AJ Francis versus Cha Cha Charlie in the main event. I mean, these are just facts. The largest crowds they've ever had. These are facts. I'm not saying nothing that's not a fact. You know what I'm saying? Like the biggest bash at the Brews ever, AJ Francis versus Cha Cha Charlie, 1, 2, and 3. I'm just saying these are facts, right? So, and I've worked so many different companies in Florida, and I'm just very grateful for the fact that like everything for me started in Florida wrestling, and now you see where I am now. That's why I like going back home to Florida. And Bound for Glory is actually in Tampa this year. So that'll be awesome. I'm expecting to see you there.
I'll tell you what, AJ, I always remember how high was that ladder? 60 feet? 100
Yeah, like
feet?
yeah. Literally, it was actually a 12-foot ladder, and the reason I know that for a fact is because when I went to do the moonsault, when we went over it in rehearsals, I put the 8-foot ladder there, and I was going to go off the top, right? But the way we set the match up, KC had to be the one to actually set up the ladder. And if you remember, KC's bum ass knee was already torn, right? So he couldn't do too much more than he already did. And when he set up the ladder, it was a 12-foot ladder. And I'm looking at it like this is not what we went over. You know what I'm saying? Like this ain't what but as you're in the moment, you're just gonna go for it. So I still went up to what I would ended up being about 9 feet. So I got an extra foot higher, and the moonsault was incredible, and it stole the show for sure. But it's crazy because like people don't realize things like that happened in a wrestling match where like that wasn't the ladder I was supposed to jump off of. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you just got to go with it in the moment.
You're in the moment. That's something too. Even if it's taped, those shows are taped or live, then
Mm-hmm.
live, it's another
Mm-hmm.
matter. But just that you guys really just have one shot at it. So when
Yeah.
things are going and all, and how much have you learned to adapt to that? Because coming in from football, okay, you've got plays that you're setting up and things may not go the way the play is set
Mm-hmm.
up. So has football helped you with that, or just that's something you've learned being in pro
Actually,
wrestling?
I say it all the time how much harder football is than wrestling for me. But when it comes to like the act of like getting it right every single time, wrestling is definitely harder than football because, like, as a football player, if you, as a D lineman, for example, if you play 60 snaps in a game, you can mess up, 5 to 10 times. And not only did you still have a great game, but like, unless it was like a obvious mistake, nobody even knows that you messed up. Because unless you play like defensive back, everybody knows, you know what I'm saying? Or like or you're a receiver and you drop the ball, or you're a running back and you fumble, then everybody knows. But short of something like that, like people make mistakes all the time on the football field, and it's not, a crazy thing. But like if you have 60 spots in a wrestling match and you mess up 5 of them, you had a shitty match. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to get it right the first time, especially like on live. The match me and Casey had last weekend on Impact, that was live, right? And not only do you got to hit your times, but like some of those spots were like really tricky and really dangerous and really could have gone wrong for a multitude of different reasons. So like having the confidence in yourself to be able to just be like, nah, it's gonna go right. and then executing like wrestling. You get when you get to the level that I'm at, when you get to being the best big man in the business, like the level of confidence you go in the ring with, like even if something goes wrong, 99% of the time the audience isn't even going to know. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to let you know, right? So, a lot of times when there are mistakes in matches, the audience has no idea.
That's the thing, because as long as you don't make it look like a mistake after and
Yeah.
continue doing whatever and try to work around it, it's exactly right. Backstage, you could talk about it. That's
Hmm.
something, because putting the personal TV angst aside, what has it been like working with and against KC Navarro, who has Miami ties, by the way?
Yes, he does. And KC, I'll give him credit. KC's a tough cookie, man. KC took some pretty big bumps in our match on Thursday because when I get a chance to do those street fight matches, if you go back and watch the one I did versus Rich Swann, if you watch the one I did with Mike Santana, if you watch the one I did with PCL at Slamversary, and then you would know, and we go watch the cage match that or the hardcore match I had with Cha Cha Charlie at CCW. Like I'm usually the guy taking crazy bumps because I can, right? And so like I'm usually that guy. And for this match, um, instead we had KC do it, and he took those bumps like a champ. So I got nothing but respect for KC. Is he better than me? Absolutely not. Is he ever going to be better than me? Absolutely not. I look better. I'm taller. I'm prettier. I dress better. You know what I'm saying? He got a badass girl, but I done had me a few of them. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather be me than KC any day. You know what I'm
That's why AJ Francis is AJ
saying?
Francis.
Yeah,
Bring the money, baby. Bring the money too.
absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
that is so cool. AJ, you're so good at this. And just your work in the ring, but your mic skills, tremendous and all. And I'm curious because we talked about Slammiversary. And by the way, you can catch TNA Wrestling Impact every Thursday night on its new home AMC and AMC Plus. Very good talent, very good shows. You could also on Sportsnet 360 in Canada and TNA Plus worldwide. So there's plenty of places to watch TNA Wrestling and see AJ Francis. You mentioned Mike Santana. How cool would it be, AJ Francis, Mike Santana for that world title at Slammiversary?
What's funny is me versus Mike Santana at Slamversary for the world title would probably be one of the greatest matches in the history of TNA. I mean, me and Mike only ever had one other singles match, and it was an instant classic, nominated for Match of the Year. The only match that wasn't a pay per view match that was nominated for Match of the Year last year, might I add. Okay. And so to have that in my, back pocket, to have that in the back of my mind, knowing that he went from that match with me to now being the world champion. And, the fact that I've been putting on banger after banger after banger ever since, and so has he. I genuinely think that if you gave me and Mike Santana 25 minutes for the world title in the main event of Slammiversary, that you would walk away from that thinking this is one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life and one of the greatest matches of all time. Now, whether Mike Santana has the balls to actually give me a title shot is a whole different thing because everybody gets these titles but don't want to give me shots until I punk them into it. I had to punk Leon Slater into giving me an X Division title shot, and I would have been the champ if it wasn't for the ref screwing me over and BDE screwing me over and Rich Swann screwing me over, right? And then I had to punk Nick Nemeth into giving me a TNA World title match, and I would have been the champ if it wasn't for KC Navarro not doing his job, getting caught out and messing up our game plan. You know what I'm saying? I'd have been the world tag team champions in TNA and NXT if it wasn't for Rich Swann getting in trouble or KC Navarro getting injured. You know what I'm saying? Like all these other people have ruined opportunities for me, right? The one time that I got a title match and it wasn't some shenanigans involved, and there wasn't some outside factor that cost me the match, I beat Laredo for the TNA digital media title. And I was the greatest and still am the greatest TNA digital media champion of all time, bar none. You know, I don't care who you mention. So to me, I think it should be AJ Francis versus Mike Santana for the TNA World Title in the main event of Slamversary. But I'm not the one that makes those decisions. You know what I'm saying? If I made the decisions, I'd be in the main event every time. And hey, I don't know if you noticed or not, but every single match I've had since 2026 started, the fans are going to chant, "This is awesome. This is awesome." And that's not me saying something. That is me stating a fact if you go back and watch the matches. And it actually started before this year because it happened with me and Leon Slater. It happened with me and BDE. It happened with me and Mike Santana. It happened with me and Moose. It happens with me and everybody. But eventually, finally, people are starting to realize I don't just happen to be standing there when people chant, "This is awesome," but in fact, I'm the reason that it's happening.
AJ Francis, that was well said. And when the truth speaks, he speaks the truth. So I'm telling you
Mm-hmm.
that we're going to wrap this up with this because I know we're running out of time and we'll talk a little Dolphins at the end. Before we get there, though, just real quick on this one University of Maryland. So
Mm-hmm.
what I think, Mr. Francis, you have surpassed head and shoulders, and I like the guy, but you've surpassed Mojo Rawley as the greatest pro wrestler from the University of Maryland. Am I speaking truth?
I mean, you're absolutely speaking truth. Let's be honest. Mojo's my boy. I played with Mojo at Maryland. That's my dog. But I surpassed Mojo like years ago. Like, I mean, let's just be that's not even up for debate. Like that, he'll tell you that himself, right? So it's like, I've been this guy. You know what I'm saying? I've been the standard bearer for the University of Maryland. And quiet as it's kept, I'm the standard bearer for the entire state of Maryland, not just the university. You know what I'm saying? Gilbert don't got nothing on me. Okay. Stacy Keebler, she looks fantastic, but she ain't got nothing on me. All right. You know what I'm saying? James Ellsworth ain't got nothing on me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm the guy when it comes to Maryland. You know what I'm saying?
Mr. Money and Mr. Maryland. That's it. And we'll wrap it on this. Dolphins. Do you still follow the Dolphins? Are you still following the
Uh huh.
NFL? They got the coaching
Absolutely.
change. They brought Willis in to play quarterback and all.
Uh
Just what are
huh.
your thoughts of Miami and what they're doing and where this thing hopefully will be going?
I really liked Malik Willis coming out of college, and I was shocked that he slid as far as he did because he put so much good things on tape. Now I understand that he's undersized, but for some reason they don't always. It's like flipping a coin. Sometimes somebody being undersized is a deal breaker, and sometimes somebody being undersized they don't care. So I don't really get what it was, but he got a good opportunity to go learn from some great quarterbacks. And now he's got an opportunity to actually show that he can be the guy. And the thing is, the NFL is just like wrestling, where when you get the opportunity to be the guy, that's when the work just begins. Like you don't just you once you get there, you're not set. Like now you have to keep up with that standard. That's how I feel myself in wrestling. It's like when I had that match with PCO and it was stole the show at Slamversary and it was, one of the highlights of my career and it was my first big match on pay-per-view, it was like, oh, okay, this is the standard this man has set. Now this is what he has to do every time he goes out there. And that's all I've done. You know what I'm saying? The work just began. So now Malik's got work to do. And I hope that he does well because I like when the Dolphins are doing well. You know what I'm saying? I like going to Miami and spending the night at Tootsie's after a win. You know what I'm saying? Like I like those things. You know what I'm saying? I like to go have a good time. You know what I'm saying? I heard they're closing Nikki Beach. I used to have a lot of fun there, but you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of things. I like to go out in Miami after a big win. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Fans can look that up because I'm not going there,
Yeah.
but I know exactly what he's saying. All right, AJ Francis. Hey, you're the best. Thank you so much for your time. Well, I hope to see you main event Slammiversary for the title against Santana. We'll see. Thank you.
Appreciate you.